You're listening to Adults Talking Anime Plus, a place where adults talk anime, video games, comic books, and cosplay, and whatever else we want. I am Inga.
And I'm Thor.
And we are your resident adults. Today, on Adults Talking Anime Plus, we're talking fantasy animes.
Which in my mind is anime.
Ha 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 ha. Technically, I mean, if you want to be technical about it, sure, all anime is fantasy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
It has genres.
Sure.
There's action, there's adventure, there's slice of life, there's supernatural.
I'm not going to nitpick. I'm just saying that it's like telling me that we're going to go and review books. Your topic this week was to tell me about your favorite books.
Okay, I already have a story for you though. This one time I was supposed to do, I was walking through the park and I was supposed to do this interview for like a foreign news station. Mm-hmm. And one of their questions was, do you read?
And did you?
No. No, of course I said yes, but I had to walk through the park in New York City and say, do you read?
Oh, you were doing the interviewing.
I was doing the interview, but the questions were the actual words. Like, do you know what a book is?
Yeah.
Do you read books? Anyway, that's a weird side note. I don't agree with you. I mean, yeah, everything could possibly be fantasy, but fantasy is still a genre.
Okay.
So I think, because there's even subgenres if you think about it.
Yeah.
Of even in fantasy.
I think that those are the genres in anime, but let's just jump into it.
All right, fine. Whatever. I still think we should do a Q and anime.
Q and anime. All right.
That was pretty good. Okay, I guess first and foremost, top 5 fantasy animes.
See,
it doesn't have to top. Top is hard to say.
Again, that's going to be like all of my fantasies, all my animes of all time, not all my fantasies of all time, but like those are just great animes, which I've listed. So I'm just going to say the stuff that's like out now.
Oh, okay.
That I really enjoy or have to make some time for because it's time to watch it.
Okay.
I know that Goblin Slayer has like a movie out.
Okay.
And I know just last week I said I wasn't going to watch any movies, but I saw that it came out for the summer, and that's pretty dope. I liked Goblin Hunter because it... Alright, let me also get into what I had to wrap my mind around, because you were like fantasy animes, and what does that say to me? Isekais.
Uh-huh.
A billion Isekais, or any anime entirely, and I tried my best to avoid Isekais if I could. So I was thinking something in a supernatural world that was just like that was the setting and that's what we took place in.
Okay. I mean, so what I was going to randomly also go to is, do you believe that Isekai and fantasy are the exact same?
They are. They have to be, because it's the whole thing about the person going... Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. But keep going, please.
So, Goblin Slayer, the reason I really liked it was just a hardcore action anime. Did you see the first season?
No, I don't think so.
Vulgar. It's pretty brutal. It talks about a guy who just kills goblins. Like, you know how in most situations a person becomes a knight, they go on these quests, they rank up. Well, in Goblin Hunter, he exterminates these goblins, which is like generally a really low level quest.
Okay.
And he becomes one of the highest ranked warriors by just the pure volume of goblins that he kills.
Wow, okay.
The other aspect of it is goblins are bad creatures.
Okay.
They basically are this kind of dumb class of monster that will kidnap people. Their whole point, like they kidnap women and rape them.
Oh, terrible.
And I think something happened with I think it was a family member of the Goblin Slayer, but his just mission is to exterminate goblins. He just killed goblins.
Okay.
It's intense.
It sounds intense. I mean, I guess I'll have to check it out. I mean, is it worth it? Okay.
Yeah, it's worth it because it's a different take. Like it makes it puts you in a spot where you're like, oh, okay, there can be definitely like a purpose for going after something. Like it's one of those. It's like a dirty job. It's like it's a dirty job that people constantly want to do the sexier missions.
Oh,
they want to
okay.
go on and do
yeah.
bigger and badder
Sure.
battles and get renowned. Like, he's known as a Goblin Slayer, which is kind of like, I don't know.
Just like a mouse exterminator.
Did you play Fable?
No. I wanted to. No.
So if you accidentally or purposefully kick a chicken
Yeah.
in Fable, your nickname and reputation will be like Chicken Kicker.
That's hilarious.
So like you have to work and do enough missions to not be a chicken kicker or a chicken chaser or something.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Imagine if real life was like that.
If that was my nickname.
Chicken kicker.
Yeah.
That's so ridiculous. All right, well, that's one. You got any other ones for me?
I do.
Because I just wanted to see if our lists were going to overlap at all.
I would also... damn, this one's an isekai.
It's fine. Keep going.
I'm going to go isekais.
All right.
No, I'm going to go one more non-isekai.
Okay.
The Misfits of a Demon King.
Wow, I have not watched this one either.
In this season. So summer 2020.
2020.
I like this one because I've liked a lot of animes that had to do with the Demon King or the devil coming around.
Interesting.
So I'll always give him a chance. This time, the Demon King is reincarnated.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess within a month of being born, becomes like 17. It goes...
Great.
How do I explain this?
I'm ready for it.
I'm hoping everyone's already seen a couple of episodes because it's out right now.
Sure.
There's obviously a magic school, as there always is, where people cultivate their skills.
Maybe I have seen this.
I think you've seen
Keep
the first
going.
episode,
Okay,
too.
yeah.
And so the Demon King gets reincarnated, and he's just out there to show people, one, that they're weak, I guess.
I think I did only
I don't know
see
what the motivation really is.
Hilarious.
I've only seen the first couple episodes, but I was very intrigued by it. I think that's a good one for in season.
Interesting. I think his whole deal was everybody was trying to claim that. I think it was something to do with the nobles and the non-nobles. Like the nobles were really getting too big for their britches kind of situation.
Sure.
And he was reincarnated, and he was just like kind of a nobody, like, because he didn't come from a noble family.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I only rember episode 1. I think I may have only seen episode 1. And that's how you avoid
spoilers in this thing, so
you only watch one episode.
Don't be worried about getting these series being spoiled for you, because we haven't watched another one, and they're not done. You can't spoil something that's not done.
Exactly. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. 3, what do you got for me?
Following up with the... Oh my gosh, it's the time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Yeah, I didn't watch this one either.
Yeah, so season 1, very good. Season 2 picks up where it left off. The complaints for season 1 was that they rushed through a big battle. It seems like it's a really, really popular manga.
I also think the title kind of just turned me off.
You know what? And it did for me up until... It took me a while to give it a chance. I didn't watch it in season, and I'm glad I waited, because it was definitely more binge-worthy than I would have thought.
I like that. Ooh, that should be a question. Bingeable?
Yeah, bingeable.
Or not bingeable?
Bingeable?
Or is it needs to be a binge, or you can watch week to week? I don't know. I'll play with that. I'll think about it. I'll think about that.
Somebody called me a binge on the street one time, and I was like, rude. Anywho. Yeah, so that time I got reincarnated as a slime, it seems like his last dying wish. A guy does a noble act just before he dies. He's going to get reincarnated, and they ask him, like, what attributes he wants when he comes back.
Sure.
And they're vague enough. He got stabbed. So I think part of the thing was like, I don't want to feel this pain anymore.
Oh.
And so, like, the only things and he wanted to do well with the ladies. I think those are, like, the 2 things he said.
So you become a slime?
Well, because he was so vague. It wasn't like I want to be a handsome person or anything like that. He's like, it burns. I wanted to stop burning. I think that's one of the quotes.
That's funny.
And so he comes back and they fulfill all of the things that he wanted. But he definitely never mentioned that he wanted to be
like a person
or anything like that. But it wouldn't be a fantasy genre if he couldn't eventually turn into a person. So there is
Good.
He's not totally a slime, but at some point you kind of want him to just go back to that little cute slime.
That's so fun. Okay, I'll have to watch it. I'll give it a go. I've heard good things about it. All right, tell me number 4. What's your 4th one?
Jeez, there's so many that you're asking me, but...
I said 5. You didn't have to give me explanations.
I'm going ReZero.
Okay.
Because that's also out.
Great. And give me your last one.
Oh, you don't even want me to tell you about why I think ReZero's the thing to watch?
Please, I mean, if you want, you just complained 2 seconds ago about how many I was asking. At the same time, I was asking for your list.
Yu-Gi-Oh then.
New or old?
First season of Yu-Gi-Oh. I can't take any list completely serious.
That's hilarious. Was that really your 5th one?
No. No, my favorite anime is Death Note.
Okay.
How do you see?
It's fantasy.
That
It's
makes
fantasy.
you feel like it's not fantasy because it's fantasy is like what's not slice of life.
I just want to go back.
Is that
No,
or sports?
No, because I was going to say, I don't know. I guess that becomes hard because I was going to say a lot of mystery animes don't feel fantasy to me because they tend to want to be more, not more realistic.
You know what? And I'm ready to make the statement here, and I don't care if it's controversial.
Great. Please tell
All right?
me. Yeah, sure.
I'm going to say that Sword Art Online
Yeah.
is the NCIS of the anime world right now.
Because there's so many.
There's just 1,000. It's just going to be 1,000 episodes.
Here's the thing. I liked the first season of Sword Art Online.
I'll say it was pretty groundbreaking because like right after it felt like everyone was going into games.
Yeah.
And getting caught.
Yeah.
Now, there is a storyline, but I almost feel like you can just watch a random episode and feel like, okay, that's pretty good.
That's so funny. I think it's what Sword Art Online Alicization. Alicization.
I think that's what it is because it's all about a girl named Alice, kind of. You obviously, I mean, you have to pick it up.
Are you lying to me
No,
currently?
I promise you.
All right. But I don't know. I got upset because I don't know. Did season 2, did they start following somebody completely different? Like they weren't following the original pair? Or was it like season 1, season 2 were the same people?
It's all basically about Kirito.
But it's not because then it's one of the two. It's either 2 or 3 where it's a different group of people. You're following different people. And I remember trying to watch it and being like, I don't care about these people.
Season 2, it does introduce more people, but his sister's in there too.
Okay. All right. I guess I could have maybe given it a try, but then...
So, if you want to just catch up a little.
I don't, but go ahead.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. Tell me.
So, everyone gets caught in the actual Sword Art Online.
Yes.
And it follows Kirito and Asuna.
Yeah.
And those are where you meet all the people that you really like.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're all caught in the game, going through the same stakes. They leave the world.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, Asuna just kind of like makes a lateral move into... oh man, I can't remember the other world, but basically they all have wings and they can fly, and that's like the big draw of it.
Great.
But you can die in that world, it's not that big of a deal. They just
Sure.
have to overcome like a pretty hard boss and then hack the game in order to save Asuna. Okay. Spoilers for season 1 and 2.
I feel like people probably have already watched this one.
Then they're back, and there's no real stakes up until, I guess, Kirito gets a part-time job working for the most high-tech company that's also to building more VR gear, because you know what, when people get captured in VR, it's because that instance was bad, not the whole thing. The idea is good, bad execution.
Uh-huh.
And they're kind of at this point where the only people who can stop the militaries of the world from taking over the online environment is if more Japanese people jump in and stop them. I think it's the U.S. military from taking over.
Oh boy!
Because now it's the actual militarization of virtual reality. I don't know what's happening. I like it.
All right, question 2.
Your top 5?
Oh, my top 5.
Your random 5?
It's not. I'm not gonna say top 5. Okay, some on my list. I was gonna say Inuyasha.
Sure.
That actually is in my top 5.
The first Isekai.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That I believe Inuyasha is the first Isekai ever. Hold on, now I gotta cheat down here a little bit. I know my list. What am I talking about? All right. Inuyasha. Fairytail.
Mm-hmm. That's not an isekai. That's a fantasy. That's a fantasy.
We're going straight up fantasy, baby. I was going to say Bleach. What else was on my list?
Another isekai.
Bleach is an isekai, you think?
Think about it.
Not... Oh.
He's a regular human, and then he goes to a different world.
I guess that's true. I was going to also put Naruto in there. And, what? I can't believe I didn't even write it down. And then, of course, Sailor Moon, baby.
Yeah.
Sailor Moon. And I think I actually went more fantasy. In my head, that was a little more fantasy. But, to throw you a 2020...
a hindsight or just this year?
Just now.
Oh, yeah.
just a
I thought you mean
second.
looking back. Looking back after this conversation, hindsight is 2020.
No.
We should have seen this year coming.
The Mayans predicted it, I'm pretty sure. No, my 2020 fantasy. Oh, you know what? I'm a liar. I got a couple more. Black Clover.
Okay.
Which is not a 2020, but at least it's a more recent anime.
Sure, it's still going on.
Exactly. And Tower of God. Tower of God is my 2020 fantasy anime. So those are my animes. I didn't give you guys any reasons, but those are them. I figured we'd get into some of them because I thought you were at least going to list one on my list, but you listed none.
Well, I wanted to be different.
Oh, you already knew it. Did you already know my list?
No. I had an idea of where it was going to go, and the thought was, do we want to... Because I can mention the same animes, but I wanted to be different today.
It's fine.
I wanted to bring
different.
up the current stuff. I wanted the description to be like, what's happening this week? What should you be watching? And you know what? The answer is, I think I'm going to pick up Decadence.
What is that?
Summer 2020 released Decadence, a completely original anime.
Is it?
Yeah, it's about like a moving fortress, but it looks really cool and it has the soundtrack style that I like, which is, I think I like the wind section of an orchestra the most.
Like clarinets and flutes?
Is that the wind section?
I'm pretty sure winds are things you blow into.
Then yes. I'm gonna stick with it. Strings, get the hell out of here.
That's hilarious. Okay, well, let's do a couple more Q&A animes before we keep going. And these are a little more easier. Wow, English. These are a little easier. Would you rather be the mentor or the mentee?
Mentors die. Mentee, let's go.
It's hilarious because I had a feeling that's what you would say. Okay, would you want to have a quirk or a devil fruit power?
Quirk, because it seems like there's no real negative. You have a devil fruit and instant... Does everybody... They can't swim?
Yes, that's the curse of the devil fruit.
And you want to be a pirate.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Was there any plan or thought of other people using devil fruit?
I mean, I don't know if every devil fruit user actually is a pirate. I think some of them are just in the Navy.
But it's
all
kind of
water.
also the bad place for it. Like, nobody wanted to be a businessman. Nobody wanted to just
a devil fruit businessman.
Devil fruit business, baby.
I got the clear fruit. I can go invisible. I'd like to be a businessman.
Yeah, but then you can do corporate espionage. I think there's a lot of functions for it. It seems silly that only the Navy and people were taking advantage of it.
That's
So I'm gonna go quirk because you just get one.
And it doesn't. I mean, even if it's a crappy quirk, you're just stuck with it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's just life.
True.
I wouldn't voluntarily be, because it seems like you almost have to be a pirate in order to get a devil fruit.
Yeah, because you have to go to the islands that they don't exist everywhere.
They only exist on islands.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if I've watched enough One Piece to know if that's true, but I think that's how it works.
That makes sense.
Because they're hard to find. You can't just find
a
devil fruit
being a
anywhere.
native on that island? And you ate this and you drowned? Because your knowledge, if you're stranded on an island, you only know, like, very little. You don't know everything.
I guess that's true.
How are you getting news?
I don't know. You're thinking too deep into it. All right. Question 4. Okay. All right. If you could have a jutsu, what jutsu would you have? I don't know if that question does
What does that
make
even
sense.
make sense? What does that mean? If I could have a jutsu?
Is that not a thing?
A Kekkei? The one that you're born with?
Oh. I thought...
Or just like if I could have a jutsu?
I'm erasing this question.
If I could have a jutsu, like are you saying if I was designing a jutsu, the Thor no jutsu, what would it be?
Jutsu. Yes.
Thor no jutsu. Oh man, if I was making up just this ability, I'm panicking. I don't even know what it would realistically be. Maybe being invisible so I can do corporate espionage?
Clear.
My jutsu, clear fruit no jutsu? Is that...
I guess in my head I thought, I don't know what I thought. I was thinking things like shadow clone jutsu or like
But this is the nonsense.
fireball. I don't know.
This is the other place that gets me with Naruto, is that there's a billion jutsus, but they were like, the number one jutsus were Sengan, just making an orb of chakra. And they're like, if you want to make the orb stronger, add an element to that orb. They're like, okay, you have to learn this Chidori. So Chidori is like basically lightning, I guess?
Yeah.
But what makes the Chidori so much better than just lightning?
Because lightning's magic.
But isn't it kind of like it's basically a sword.
Yeah, your
is what the
hand
Chidori
becomes
is.
a lightning sword.
So they're like, you can either make a point and then add an element to it, or you can make a ball and you can add an element to it. So then the answer is, if I want to make an ultimate jutsu, it would be like, okay, I'm going to add that ball and I'm going to add an element to it. No, actually, the Chidori is, I think, a little bit better.
That's hilarious.
Is that controversial?
Yeah, probably. I'm sure. I'm sure somebody's just like, oh,
No,
that opinion's trash.
Because he can throw it too. So the Bijou Bomb. I mean, ultimately, there's proven facts that the orb is the strongest shape. So, strongest shape is the orb. We know this beyond a shadow of a doubt. That's why the Earth and the Moon are shaped like it.
I can't ask any questions after that. I think that ends Q in anime. The orb is the strongest shape.
And I'll live by that.
Oh, boy. I don't know. I wanted this to be a bonus question. This might be too intense. I mean, like I said, it's over, but this is just a random question in general. Worst fantasy villain.
Oh, in an anime series?
Yes.
Do you have one that you thought of?
I did, actually.
Who?
Well, I don't know. It could be cheap, but I'm going with Naruto.
Naruto? Just one of those bad boy villains who grew up as an outsider, but eventually his entire village loved him. Naruto. I thought Naraku's like a bad villain. I like him as a villain.
I mean, okay. I guess I meant... Oh, okay. Yeah. I can see how this question could be taken one of two ways. As in, like, worst villain being like, they were just like a crappy foil. Or, like, the worst villain, as in that was a bad dude.
Oh, yeah. What did you mean?
Technically, I think I was going with the first one, where I was just like, the worst villain. Like, they kind of suck. But I guess you're right. I don't know. I just thought the reason Naraku upset me was because they could never, like, there was a whole movie where they think they actually won. They thought they won. And friggin' Moroku's wind tunnel disappears. They think they win, and he's not actually dead. He tricked them. He, like, was sleeping.
Yeah.
And you get a whole different villain for the movie, and then at the very end, Naraku comes back. And he's not actually dead. And the fact that he's constantly eating demons to make himself stronger to the point that he becomes very hard to beat, he's like you're like, he's just never gonna die. I mean, I get it, because the whole series, thank God, only had, he was the main villain. There were other villains, but, like, he was the main villain. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But then all the other villains were actually working for Naraku, too.
Yeah. See, and that's why I like...
Inuyasha.
Yeah, and Naraku as a villain, because it's just like, he was always it.
Yeah.
And I knew the whole time.
That's true.
And this is my other complaint with Naruto. I'll tell you who was a bad villain. Every villain before, they introduced a new villain. Because then I'm like, this is the ultimate bad guy. Orochimaru, this guy's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Oh, turns out not really a villain anymore.
Yeah.
Madara, ultimate villain. Oh, he's under everyone's control. Never mind. It's Kaguya. Kaguya is an ultimate. Oh no, now Boruto exists, so it's her family.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. That's true.
I can't keep caring about these other villains. Like I don't think that they're. I just assume that there's just another one.
True. All right. So, did you give it any thought though? So, I guess you can answer it in like a which way did you want to go with that question? Like a bad villain or just like like an actual bad villain?
I mean, it would have to be Kefka from I think Final Fantasy. I want to say 4.
I love that we were anime. You went video game, and I was anime.
What's the plus? Can't I talk about things?
You can, but that wasn't even the question. That was not the question.
Kefka killed the world. He blew up the world.
I don't even, in my head, I'm all like King Koopa.
Yeah.
King Koopa constantly.
Just the turtle?
The turtle.
You mean Ganondorf or something?
No.
You mean Bowser?
Mario.
Yeah, you mean Bowser.
Wasn't his name originally King Koopa?
I'm pretty sure that is the turtle.
That's hilarious. I can't. Anyway, are you not just answering this question or are we moving on from it?
We'll move on from it. Maybe
Okay.
I'll think of an anime answer.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess let's...
Kefka was in Final Fantasy 6, by the way.
Oh,
not 4.
thank you for the update.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Let's...
But he seemed to just like chaos. Chaos motivated people.
Your favorite thing to say is they like chaos.
Those are the scariest ones.
Who just like chaos.
That just do bad things for the sake of
doing bad
being
things.
bad.
I guess that's true. That's
I think it's a scary thought when you can start understanding why a bad guy is bad.
Well, that takes you right into Death Note and why Light is like an anti-villain.
Yeah, because for the most part, I'm more on Light's side. I think I'm more upset that he didn't win.
That's so crazy, but it's so true. Oh, so this makes me think of this. Do you have any... in your head, can you think of a perfect anime?
26 episodes of Death Note.
You think 20...
But the perfect anime is Run With Your Life. Or Run With the Wind. Run With Your Life. Run With the Wind.
You know what? I was actually going to say the perfect anime is also Run with the Wind.
Yeah, because it tells a full story. It captures a moment in people's lives. I mean, is it my mission to make the world love Run With the Wind? Sure, and I'll take it. Because we all have burdens to bear, and that's mine. Fantasy anime? No. But an anime that I think tells a story in a perfect way.
It's so crazy because at first, when I finally finished Naruto, if you skip a ton of the fillers, like if you watch it a certain way and you manage to like get rid of certain fillers, whatever, I was like, man, Naruto is a pretty close to like story-wise was like a perfect anime. But then I think I was in a Naruto fog. Like I just really, I don't know if that's not an accurate statement by any means.
Naruto's the Boy Meets World of animes.
Meaning it's like the best show, or you're nostalgic? You get nostalgic for it?
I can't really... I mean, I love watching like a random Boy Meets World episode. There's a lot of episodes in the middle I don't care about. I grew up with them.
Yeah.
You get to see them grow up. I think that's the main factor.
Maybe that's what it is.
Literally see him... He is like the oldest looking 16-year-old. Like 3 years passed, and that's how he looked. He looked so different.
That's so... I know.
Like
at the end, that haircut. What did they do to Naruto? Why'd they do that to him?
But you grow up with him and you see all 3 phases: adolescence,
yeah,
teenagehood, I guess, and then adulthood.
Yeah.
So I mean, and also, it's a lot of time. If you followed it during the time, it was
probably painful.
Good
I could
15 years.
Yeah, I don't think I would have enjoyed it. See, but for me, back to Inuyasha.
Mm-hmm.
Inuyasha had that bullshit anime ending back in the early 2000s where I think it was episode, I want to say like 168. I was devastated. I think that's why I know this number. 168 where they're just like flying off into the sky and they're saying, we're going to keep looking for Naraku. See you guys later. And I was so incredibly bummed. Did you know that I had to wait 10 years for a finale, like a true finale to Inuyasha?
Yeah.
10 years. And there wasn't any in-between fillers. Inuyasha ends. It just ends. And then 10 years later, you get the final act.
Yeah.
Which, I have to say, the final act is good. The final act just flies on through.
I think it's pressure for writers.
Well,
Once you're in the thick of writing...
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be terrifying. I respect them so much to, like, tell people, hey, I'm going to create an ending to this thing. But, like, at first you're writing something that you think is, like, a really cool world that you can't stop thinking about.
Yes.
And then, I don't know if they fall in love, like, if they just... I wonder how far in advance they know. Some writers know the end.
True.
But then, for a writer to not fully know the end, and then for expectation to build, that's got to be so much pressure.
Well, I think that's why One Piece won't end.
Just, you know.
I think that's why they're just going to keep on sailing through.
Did you see the news about One Piece this week?
That it's on its final arc?
Is that
No, I don't.
News? I think that's the news.
What was the news? It sounded like something like it might be...
People were hitting the internets about what's in the opening currently.
I haven't even... Okay, so I just started rewatching One Piece. And so I am...
That's a fantasy anime. That stays in the same world.
Oh, did I not even say One Piece?
Who knows?
I did, maybe.
We're
We're going all over it. But I'm already like 330 episodes in. I'm at the... You guys will know. He won't know. I'm at the Thriller Bark arc. The Thriller Bark arc. Even though I can tell you right now, I could have probably done without the Thriller Bark arc. It's a lot. Like, it just... at first I was like, yeah, One Piece. But there are parts of it where you're just like, okay, some of these battles are definitely taking way too long. Like, there's just too much, and the enemies are... That's another thing where the enemies just keep getting harder for no reason.
Sure.
In between, but then Luffy has to, like, power up in order to beat this enemy. So, I don't know. But it's definitely enjoyable, and I do think part of the reason I like it, and I can see why the big three are the big three, like Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, because of the similar storytelling, possible, like, the length, that there's, like, some form of, like, comfort in that. I don't know. I don't really know where I was going with that. Does that make sense?
A little bit. So, because a lot of the time, the overarching themes were, like, going past your limit, and you were a good guy so long as you were helping people.
Yes. Okay,
and helping people tend to be the thing that pushed a person over the edge, because the bad guy in most of the series, I haven't seen One Piece. That's just the one where
it doesn't actually have an official bad guy, though, because each arc there's a villain, but there, as of right now, there is no. I'm going to probably get flamed in any form of a comment, but there isn't an actual.
I believe it's pronounced flummed.
There isn't an actual villain unless you want to say it's the Navy in the hopes that they'll never catch the pirates.
It's pronounced the Navi. Isn't that the Zelda Navi?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that's also that James Cameron movie, the Everybody's Blue.
Pixie dust was added to Tinkerbell to make kids fly, because initially, I guess kids were trying to fly.
Just by thinking happy thoughts?
By believing.
And just jumping off things?
And that's why you need pixie dust now. Because you can't just fly with good thoughts. You idiots. You optimistic maroon. What are you jumping off the frickin' roof for?
Hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, I guess sort of with Bleach, too. I don't know. Bleach is another one that upsets me. And it's not upsetting.
They catch up.
Yeah, I think it's the fillers that really do, make these animes lose some of their steam, though. Lose some of their vigor. It's great that you can skip them. I still like to kind of watch some of the fillers. Like with Naruto, anything that had Kakashi in it, I would watch.
If it fills out the world, those are really fun ones. Mm-hmm. I think going back in time, the fillers that I really disliked in Naruto were when they were going back to Naruto. Because it's like, if you needed to tell me the story while he was a kid, why didn't you tell me the story while he was a kid?
Yeah.
Because we had an opportunity while he was a kid. That's what the
True.
whole Naruto was about in the first place. So if you look at Naruto Shippuden, he should be up. So, like, that's my whole thing with it. I don't need to see 200 episodes of Shippuden to all of a sudden see him back as a 13-year-old.
Yeah, there
I'm
was
upset.
a very upsetting one during the fourth Ninja War, the one that they were in.
Yeah,
Naruto
it's like,
was in.
I don't need to see them as
They
kids.
literally went back to like Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura.
I know.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! I was like, "Are you?"
So those ones
What?
frustrate me for sure.
But Bleach, I think, is the biggest offender of some of the of their fillers. There was just I don't know. I don't know. That could be an unpopular opinion.
I don't know if it is. So I'm going to assume everyone's seen Bleach, otherwise, spoiler. It seemed to me like every family and everything that they introduced in Bleach
Starts to tie together.
was in Ichigo. Just in Ichigo. Ichigo becomes everything.
That's true. That's true.
It's like, oh, we know why he's the main character. Because he's everything. He has all of the powers. I'm like, what is this? I thought, like, couldn't he just be a dude with a bunch of spiritual energy? That's the other part. A lot of these main characters did just have a lot of, like, raw power.
Yes.
And kept having to find, like, to refine it. Training. I enjoyed that. Like, when you have to train to refine your power.
Yes.
That makes sense to me. And they were born with a lot of natural aptitude. That's why I like athletes in sports. Because these guys are talented and they work very, very, very hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can see that in my main character. Like, I'm not... I don't know. I like that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anyway.
In the end.
That's like the big three. What did I keep seeing in the big three that was similar and why people like that story type?
Yeah. I will say there was one, bringing it back to One Piece just because I have just watched it. They did do... I wasn't as mad at their filler episode. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they're filler arcs. You guys can let me know. Where it's just like, this arc is just not as interesting as, like, say... oh crap, of course I forgot it. It's the Ocean 7, Sector 7 arc or whatever. Now I'm just talking Final Fantasy.
7.
No, it's Water 7, excuse me. Yeah, it's the Water 7 arc, which is like amazing. If you're like, okay, I'm watching One Piece. But they went and Luffy did a whole side story that had nothing to do with anything. And they were all playing kind of like different versions of themselves. But it was, 3 or 4 episodes, pretty compact, of its own little like weird side story. And I go, this doesn't really bother me that much. But I guess it would be really annoying if you were watching the anime currently. And then they did that. I have to say, like right now, My Hero Academia, which is a fantasy action.
Sure.
Anime, the thing that I do enjoy about My Hero Academia is that as of right now, we don't have fillers. And I'm using quotations with fillers.
Unless, because I know where you're at. I read the manga. It's my greatest mistake. But I read the manga 2 years ago and got to the point where they're at now.
Okay.
2 years ago. And this whole thing with, I want to say, who is the guy and the girl?
Gentle.
Gentle.
Yeah, Gentle, and I can't think of her
Unless
name.
it ties in later, but I remember reading a lot about Gentle.
Criminal. I mean, I feel like he's gonna tie back in, but I could 100% be wrong.
It feels like you're wrong already.
Dang.
It feels like you're wrong now.
So by that, you're telling me I'm wrong.
No, I don't know. I mean...
Yes, you do.
I don't know.
You read it.
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the anime's officially like at where I was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's a long time to catch up. First off.
But are you comparing manga to anime?
I was.
So, I mean, manga, there's probably fillers in manga.
I think anytime you have an expectation to put out content week after week after week, and then you have to tell people when you're not, that's the crazy part. Like, what our expectations are. I mean, everybody signs a contract and things become business after a point in time, but I cannot imagine the stress of having to create something week after week after week.
I know. I've tried and I've given up immediately. I've panicked and I've given up immediately.
Yeah.
And there was zero money involved, just my own street cred.
Commitments.
Yeah, commitments are tough. Commitments are tough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess then if you look at it that way, then you can't fault anybody
And I don't.
for filler episodes and but I just feel right now.
But I will rank them on my anime list
That's-
lower if there are going to be a bunch of fillers.
I just feel like the animes though currently, and I don't know, maybe it's because we're only, obviously your first season you're not going to have any fillers. If you have a filler in your first season of your anime, you already got problems.
There are animes that have fillers in their first.
Name one.
There's any anime that has an episode like 9 that does like a recap.
Oh.
I think recaps in 13 episodes are filler-ish.
Okay, what about Beach Days?
What about Beach Days?
I mean, what about Beach Days?
Beach Days?
Do you think Beach Days are fillers?
Oh, you mean just when they automatically...
Yes, when they go to the beach. When they just go to the beach for some reason. I feel like those are the fan service episodes, but I also think that's a different genre.
Maybe. Dang, is the fan service episode a filler?
Yeah. I mean,
that's a pretty good question.
We're going to pose this to you guys in the Discord. Let us know if you think the fan service episode is filler? Question mark.
Because that is in a lot of them.
I mean, I think any long-running anime
think it's
for
necessary.
sure. Hilarious. I mean, I was going to say, even in Fairytail, they go to the beach. Wait, am I making this up? No, I'm pretty sure. They go to the beach and they train. There's a whole, it's always, did a whole training montage. Maybe it wasn't, no. Was it Fairytail?
I do remember Natsu in a...
I feel like he was wearing his scarf around his head. Is all I'm envisioning is him wearing his scarf around his head.
Yeah.
And them going to the... Or was it? No, you know what? Wrong. It's actually Black Clover they did that in. Which, Black Clover, I'm going to say this, is Naruto.
Okay.
That's it. No.
Which is Dragon Ball Z.
Turns out it's all Dragon Ball Z. At the end of the day, it's Dragon Ball Z. But the people tell me...
That's a fantasy anime,
It is. I'm surprised. I thought you were definitely going to say Dragon Ball Z, and then you didn't.
I went with recent stuff.
I mean, I'm
Who
proud.
wants to talk about Dragon Ball Z?
Who doesn't want to talk about it? I don't know enough about it to want to talk about it. I do want to talk about it.
You know up to the Cell Saga, which is...
pretty good.
I think everybody loves the Cell Saga.
Yeah.
Because Cell is a really good bad guy.
So he's an actual, I guess...
I would say...
worst villain?
You know what, though? I have to now maybe change my opinion, because Majin Buu, you don't know him yet.
Okay.
But Majin Buu was an agent of chaos. But I would say that Cell was a better bad guy. Or like a worse bad guy. Okay. However the words are supposed to work in order for that sentence to make sense.
Yeah, how do you make that sentence make sense?
Cell knew he had the ability to destroy the Earth. Yeah. But wanted to make it a point that he was stronger than everybody and basically embarrassing them in a fight.
Oh, that was the whole point of the fight, right? Hilarious. That is pretty funny.
And he gave his enemies, like, he was stronger. He gave them all basically a full year. I don't know if he knew they were going in the hyperbolic time chamber. I don't think he did. Yeah. But he saw that people were able to get really, really strong, really, really, in a short time period. Yeah. And that was, like, that was pretty cool. And so he was like, I just want a better fight. Yeah. And I just want to win. Yeah. So that's a baller move. Whereas Majin Buu, I don't even think he knew why he wanted to destroy things.
He just wanted to destroy things. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's true. Yeah, I don't know. Can you think of any animes that we've talked about or that we haven't talked about that you think have absolute garbage endings?
Garbage endings?
Yeah, garbage endings.
I guess Fairytail.
What? I don't know why. Do you even remember the ending?
Yeah, no. I mean, it feels like after a big war. Like a big war.
Yeah, it was a big war.
There was no consequences.
In what sense? That nobody really died?
Nobody really died. Okay. Nothing really changed. Like, if you end it before they travel through time, did anything happen in 8 years?
I mean, they got worse. They became a worse guild.
A worse guild, yeah. But it's like... it didn't feel like there was a I don't know. It just...
I'm offended by you putting Fairytail with a garbage ending.
Fairytail could have ended pretty much any time, though.
And
you would have had the exact same results and the exact same feelings as you would have at any point. So if they hadn't traveled through time, and like Fairytail ended right at the last arc before the tree,
Sure.
like say, because they were trying to determine who was S-class, right?
Yes.
Say nothing happened, and it ended right there. Is anything really different?
I don't know.
I'm putting you on the spot, but it's kind of tough to think about.
Well, because at this part it's hard
really.
because I also...
Because it just like you could have ended Fairytail. I'm glad that it lasted as long as it did because I love the characters and I love seeing it. But I think that things have to be radically different or have to be wrapped up.
I mean, I feel like here's my thing. The reason that I don't think Fairytail is a garbage ending is because A, there was an ending.
Zeref was the bad guy for the longest time and it randomly turned into a dragon.
No, it was... Okay, first of all, the dragon...
Acnologia?
Yes, Acnologia. Yeah. He was always a side villain with Zeref. At the end of the day, Zeref and Acnologia were always actually at odds too. But Acnologia wants to destroy the world.
Yeah.
And Zeref wants to rule the world, but he wants to destroy it. I don't know. Well, because he's cursed, so basically everything he loves dies. That's his whole curse. So
Except
he can't ever love anything.
Mavis.
But she technically but she did die.
Which time?
When she was in the crystal.
But she was alive in the crystal.
Barely.
I'm just saying, we never even knew. But apparently, they had brought more people to life in that last little bit.
Yeah.
Than had died.
I mean, they didn't kill... I don't know. They didn't kill anybody. I don't know. Personally, I don't think it's a trash ending. I think it was... I don't know. I think it's an ending. I think I will always be scarred by that Inuyasha fly away on Kilala and just say, like, we live to fight Naraku another day. I cannot... Now that I have Naruto on my brain, I cannot say Naruto. Naraku!
Now, I get it. I do get... But I get why that ended that way.
Well, because it wasn't done.
It wasn't done.
It was not done.
I don't think you can judge an ending based off of something that wasn't done.
It wasn't done.
It was known. Same thing, like, I'm not going to bring up Bleach. Because, Bleach did have a pretty badass ending. And I'm really curious where they're going to go past Aizen. But...
Yeah.
With Bleach, it's... it makes sense. There's more to the story.
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge it in the same way. Like, Fairytail is done.
Yeah.
And now it has a spin-off series.
Maybe. Well, it's in the works.
It does. But it's like, that is what I have to judge it off of. And at the end of it, I kind of realized that, like, Zeref was not that bad of a bad guy. He ends up helping.
I guess. I don't know. Man, now I feel like I gotta rewatch it to sort of remember. Because in a weird way, they had a lot of filler arcs, too, that you're just kind of like... Why did this whole celestial...
I really, really, really enjoyed Fairytail.
Yeah. Does it sound like it?
But it's kind of like more like Seinfeld.
That's a show about nothing.
And that's what Fairytail kind of is about. Fairytail is kind of... Like, it really becomes... When you first watch Fairytail, what is that story about?
It's about Lucy wanting to join the Fairytaale Guild.
What happened?
She joins the Fairytaale Guild.
She joined in the second episode.
Yeah.
In the final episode, she joins and reaffirms that was a good decision.
That's hilarious. I guess. I don't know.
The romance part of it, people are upset that...
Well, yeah, that Natsu didn't confess his love for Lucy.
I mean, it wasn't a romance anime. It's just, like, her to wrap it up and be like, you know what, I'm so happy I joined this guild. You joined it so long ago. So long ago. And if that's the takeaway, I can't say it's one of the greatest endings of all time.
Alright. I mean, I'll give you that. I don't know. Do I have other than...
But even to be considered on this, one has to have built expectations throughout its series. It has to have been really, really good. It has to have been thoroughly enjoyable. Because I'm not gonna say like a bad anime that has like a crap ending that
True.
you realize is garbage. That's not gonna come to my mind.
Yeah.
My thing would be, I built up a certain amount of expectation, and then it didn't live up to that and go through.
Okay. I mean, I guess that's fair. That's fair. Because in my head, I guess it would be like, well, no, that's not true. Because I was still upset about Inuyasha. But like you said, that wasn't the official ending.
Like,
it just, for 10 years. But could you imagine? That could have been the official ending. Then that would have been the contender for a trash ending.
For sure. It would have been one of the worst. But that'd be a crazy way to tell a story. Although, like, you can't... You know, the author who passed away for High School of the Dead.
Oh, man.
I mean,
that's
devastating.
Yeah. I think, in a way, though, even though the anime does end in the most ambiguous way, I'm actually not even mad at it for it being the ending. Because it kind of gives you that, like, what do you think happened?
You can write your own story.
You can kind of... But I think it ended in a... Even though that there is no real conclusion... For an anime, that's actually a pretty good one. That's actually a pretty good 12... What is it? Is it 26? Is it 2 seasons or is it 1?
So. I think so.
I think it's... Yeah, I agree. I think that's actually a pretty good...
and they started having OVAs. Yeah.
Anime.
I liked it.
I did too. I mean, despite the fan service on that anime. But it didn't actually bother me that much of how intense the fan service was.
Should we talk about a webtoon?
Please, tell me. I mean,
The Last Human. I believe it's a webtoon.
Is it a book?
So it's got an interesting take on the zombie apocalypse. I don't even think it's about fully zombies. It could be aliens. But this guy he's the last human, and he gets reincarnated, but like 2 years earlier, so he gets to see. Everyone has this disease that allows them that creates monsters, but you can also kind of harness it.
Sure.
It's a good read. Definitely a good read. Very, very sci-fi. Currently out there, so I don't want to spoil anything for people, but it's very cool. He has enough knowledge of the future to where when people go back in time and do smart things right off the bat, I really enjoy. If I were ever to get transported to a random time, I'm never running around asking questions like, what year is it? Because that's a way to look crazy.
That's hilarious.
I'll just take things at face value.
Sure.
I'm also concerned that one day I'll wake up with an old magazine or newspaper and assume that I've gone back in time a couple of years.
Funny.
But I'd rather treat it serious.
Yeah.
And be in the habit of that than looking like an idiot if this situation ever happens.
That is true. It doesn't make a ton of sense while people are immediately running around asking what day it is or what time it is.
Those are two good questions.
I want to know what day.
What day is it? What are you, a time traveling
idiot?
What are you, time traveling maroon?
Are you idiot? You don't know? You know what day it is? Yeah, basic.
What time is it? What time is it?
Oh man, this is when watching the podcast will make much more sense than listening to it. Sorry about that. Oh man, a question popped into my head so fast and now it went right out. It was in relation to what we were just talking about. Here it is. Would you rather die to get to, like, the fantasy world, like an Isekai?
No.
Or would you rather just be able to jump through a well and travel like Kagome?
Let me just go ahead and roll down the stakes for you. You just asked me, would you rather die?
Yeah, would you rather,
How do you know?
that you're going to end up
Worst case scenario, if you fall into a well or jump volunteering, you'll maybe break a bone.
Sure.
The other one, you are full on dead.
Okay. Well, good to know.
Yeah, there's just no... That's why I've always thought the ones, it's even higher stakes if you ever die.
Okay, how about this? Jump into a well, jump into a well and get teleported to another era, or get sucked into a video game.
Sucked into a video game?
Okay.
What about you?
I probably want to get sucked into a video game too, to be honest.
I would assume that, maybe I'd get some powers because of it.
Yeah.
Versus The alternative is, like, I just go back in time and I'm dealing with my same self.
Yeah. What about what you were
Although
talking...
my cardio's phenomenal.
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm good in any era.
Oh, sure.
What if cars didn't exist? Would you be able to get stuff?
Yeah.
Back in the day? You'd be a part of a village with no money.
Why would I be in a poor village?
No, you'd be poor in that village.
Why would I be poor in that village?
What money do you have that's good 200 years ago in the feudal era? Also, what's here?
What do you mean?
We're in North Carolina. 200 years ago is 18 something. At least it's a state.
That's hilarious. I don't know.
I think it's a state. No, there's definitely things here, for sure.
Yeah.
1820.
That's very funny. I don't know. I would figure it out. Do I have modern day knowledge in this time? Yeah, of course I do.
Okay, what knowledge are you bringing to the party? I'm going to say, what's your modern day knowledge bringing to the party over there?
Dr. Stone is a great fantasy anime.
Yeah, but he knows so much about science. So much. I watched the show and I don't know anything he did. I don't know how he made cola. I don't know how he made lights. I don't even know, really, how he made that food.
You want to know what's also crazy? That the science is actually right in Dr. Stone.
Tell me right now, you modern day genius.
Yeah.
You tell me one thing that he did.
He made fire.
How? I know how to make fire.
So do I.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
How?
You take 2 sticks.
That's going to be insane.
You're going to rub them together. You get a flint.
You're going to get a flint?
You're going to get a flint. You're going to flint. You're going to put them under some sticks. You're going to make sure that grass is really dry. You're going to rub those sticks really hard. No, 2 rocks. You're going to take 2 rocks. You're going to hit them together. You're going to make a light. And you're going to make a little fuse.
That's
and you're
what the flint's for.
On your dry flint. And bang, I got fire.
Yeah, you're not going to make it if you fall into either one of those situations. At least in a game,
I'm going to make
you're
it.
going to be okay.
I would definitely make it.
No.
Don't tell me I'm not going to make it.
There's not a doubt in my mind.
That's rude.
It's all right.
That's so rude to say. I think I would make it. All right, I got one more question.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any animes that we've listed or not listed that you think that would deserve a Boruto-esque like spin-off?
How close are you making me think about this? Like, would I want to see their kids?
I guess so. I get, or just in some, or like one of the side characters who didn't maybe get a lot of screen time.
Who's gonna get a Joey?
Yeah, who's gonna get a Joey? That's the perfect way to say it. Who's gonna get a Joey?
Oh man. Please tell me you've thought of something.
Well,
just so the listeners know, I get asked these questions for the first time in this situation.
You could have looked at the drive.
I could have looked at the drive, but I don't because I want my raw opinions on this.
Well, I mean, mine's not fair because they're doing mine.
Oh, okay.
Yashahime, Princess... The Demons? Demon Princess. Yashahime, Demon Princess. The spin-off to Inuyasha, which also probably sparked why I can't stop talking about Inuyasha at the same time. I want to do a whole Inuyasha episode. Could you guys be down with that? Let me know in the Discord. I mean, I don't know how much we talked about Inuyasha, but I think we could. But anyway, Yashahime, yes. I'm totally in it, and I have to say this. It does not look like it's going to be like Boruto. It looks like it's actually going to be pretty damn good. And I also like what they did. I just watched the trailer. If you guys follow us on Adult Tea Anime, I posted the trailer over there. Several questions. Boom. We're going to go like this. I like that they bring back Sango's brother, Kohaku. He's actually he is one of the guardians of Sesshomaru's kids. I also enjoy that they bring back Sota. Sota, which is Kagome's younger brother. He ends up playing a very big role in this anime also because he's also raising one of Sesshomaru's kids. And for all of you listening, I'm going to let you know right now, Rin is the mother.
Wow.
I mean, it's going to probably upset a lot of people that I just said that. It's probably an unpopular opinion, but I'm pretty confident. No, if you go on Twitter or if you go on everything, all in Reddit too, everybody's like, but who? who? I'm like, y'all obviously did not watch Inuyasha.
Yeah.
Because it's Rin.
For sure.
It's Rin. But I just think, honestly, like, if I was to pick an anime that I definitely wanted to see a spinoff of, Inuyasha would be one. And, you know, it's already happening also, but I will watch the 100-year quest for Fairytail. I'm saying it right now. I'm watching it.
Yeah, for me, I think it's gonna be. Everyone knows I love mystery and thriller.
Mm-hmm.
I also loved Elle from Death Note,
Interesting.
and if there could be a prequel kind of series showing, because not only was Elle the greatest detective in the world, he was also the first, second, and third. That's what people don't remember. Elle, because at one point, one of his pseudonyms gets hired in order to investigate him in the series. And they're like, oh, there's nothing to worry about because that's also me. And so I think if you were to see something where he's solving crimes, I would be all about that.
Yeah, I guess it would be interesting to see how he became the greatest. Like, what crimes was he solving in order to be considered the greatest detective in the world?
Episode 1, he got put up on the big screen. First off, very big screen for the UN.
Sure.
And he just got to interrupt the meeting as a laptop. It is straight up video conference. No big deal.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty baller. I like that. I'm trying to think of, is there anything an original that isn't...
It seemed like he worked with the US a lot. So I think that'd be cool to see an anime talking about crimes where Elle was helping out the US too.
That's such an interesting idea.
You don't really see that environment change that much, that dynamic.
Yeah.
But he had a history of working with higher-ups in the US government.
Interesting. I don't know if I have anything that's not currently... Was there... I mean, personally, what I would just want a season 2 of that we didn't really get, or maybe a season 3, because obviously I make 26 episodes to me is one season, apparently. Maid Wakasama.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to see more of that. Orin Host Club.
Yeah.
I would love to see more Orin Host Club. I don't know, but I could do a time skip on Orin Host Club. I would almost like to see... maybe the future of the Orin. I don't know. We're going into a different realm because that's not necessarily fantasy. That's more...
You just want to see him a little older.
I guess I'd want to see them older, but I guess
and
at the same time,
pan out.
who actually ends up with Haruhi, even though I think we all know who ends up with Haruhi.
Who? Who does it?
Tamaki.
Oh, okay.
I'm leaving the long pause in. I mean, I don't know. Because that's not one that you could do like a weird spin-off of. That would just be a continuation of a story to even see if like all these guys still hang out with each other. Which then brings you back to why Run with the Wind is a perfect 26 episodes.
Well, and they answered the question.
They did. They absolutely did, which is... Because I want real resolution from my anime sometimes. I hate when they leave you wondering what's going to happen. I want... You just tell me. You tell me what's going to happen in this anime. All right.
You know who did a spinoff that I liked?
Who?
Code Geass. In their most recent season, I was stoked because I'm like, oh man, another Code Geass season?
Yeah.
It's going to be great. And it was completely about different people, different time. But that world is very... I mean, it was... I watched the whole thing, and I didn't think it was that bad.
Oh.
It was pretty good.
That's good. I like that. All right. I guess we're about that time, as we all know. And we can always just go into a quick what you watching, what you playing. So I'll ask you first. What you watching or what are you playing?
What I'm watching, I'm ready to start watching Decadence. I mean, it's a couple of episodes in.
Sure.
I'm ready to catch up, and I think it's worth watching on a week-to-week basis.
Okay.
That's high praise.
That is pretty high praise. Well, we also were watching this. Rent a Girlfriend, which is in season.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually, we just happened to be scrolling through Crunchyroll. We
I
watched.
think it's the most ranked on my anime list right now.
It's what'd you say it was?
For this season, I think there's an ongoing poll.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's hosted by Reddit or hosted on my anime list, but
Sure.
It's getting the most upvotes and comments, I think.
I mean, I like it thus far. It's another harem anime, which I don't have a problem with, but sometimes I'm just kind of like...
Is it a harem?
I think it's going to become one.
None of the girls like him so far.
It's a harem in the sense that nobody likes him.
Yeah, in that case, my life is a harem. It's a harem in the way that I go on dates and the girls also don't like me.
Hilarious. Hilarious. There's 3 or 4. They all mutually do not like me. That's very funny. I don't know. I think it definitely gives you opinions because we all hate his ex-girlfriend. She's
Sure.
the worst.
Sure.
Yeah, she can
Yeah.
she can do that. And of course I can't think of the girl's name. I should have looked at that before I decided to start talking about it. But I think, I mean, it's definitely intriguing. We're up to episode 4. I think episode 5 is about to come out. So they leave you with a little cliffhanger right
Every
now.
episode's a good cliffhanger.
Yeah, and it definitely brings you back. I think it's identifiable in the sense that there's this guy, he can't get over his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
And everybody has been there at some point where you just can't get over somebody. I think it's really interesting and funny that there's a rent a girlfriend, rent a partner service to help you try to move forward. But yeah, I don't know. I think so far it's good. I think other people kind of, I don't know, it depends on your opinion on anime, but some people are kind of like, ugh, he sucks as a main character. But I think he's kind of likable. I think he's pathetic.
Yeah, and I like main characters that are different. I think that's what attracts me to this one, is that he's a main character that doesn't have everything put together.
Oh, yeah.
Has plenty of times where he doesn't have the most handsome face.
Yeah.
You know, he's constantly crying, constantly weak. I mean, the girls really...
Oh, the girls are great.
Dominate this show.
Yeah, they do.
They have a lot more depth. Like, he doesn't seem to have very much depth. You kind of figure him out pretty quickly. Like, cares about his grandma.
Mm-hmm. That's his redeeming factor is how much he loves his grandma.
And...
But everything else, he's just kind of like a dude, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of like a spineless
virgin.
Virgin's got a virgin.
Virgin's got a virgin. Yeah. Virgin's got... And that line came out of the show. So... I don't know. Yeah. I think it's nice having your main character not just be the only thing that you care about. It really is. It's a show that you care about all the side characters.
Yeah, you almost actually like all that. Because even his best friend is way better than him.
Yeah, and he's only gotten an episode of depth.
Yeah.
Real building.
Yeah. So there's that. Okay, I'm trying to think of anything else. Well, the Sailor Moon R movie just came out on, I want to say it's Crunchyroll or Funimation, and I'm going to get into that. I actually haven't seen any of those Sailor Moon anime films, so I'm gonna watch it.
What you playing?
Honestly, I'm still playing Final Fantasy VII, the Orig. I haven't gotten any further than what we talked about last week because I just hadn't had any time this week. I had to adult too much to actually play, which was kind of a bummer. I want to beat it. I want to go ahead and beat it. And then now I've been waiting so long to check on my Animal Crossing characters. I feel like they're going to be mad at me. They are. They're going to talk trash to me. And I still have to redo my entire island. But I just I do feel like they're going to shade me a bit for not checking in on them. So I've been actively avoiding my Animal Crossing village, my island.
And I've been playing a mobile game.
What is that? Which one?
You know what the weird part is? Why does Square Enix have so many?
That's hilarious. It's true. And they're actually pretty good.
War of the Visions.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know which one this one is.
Sure.
But I'm trying it out.
That's so fun. Well, I guess let us know how it is next week if you're still playing it. Do we have any final thoughts on fantasy anime?
Oh, Final
thoughts.
Fantasy.
That's hilarious. You're like, we gotta bring it back.
Anime again. I think this topic was broad.
I'm okay with it. I think we can get more in depth. I think the fact that we had such different tastes,
for sure,
in even just the fantasy.
I think all non-slice of life anime is fantasy anime.
That's a bold statement. I'm not going to argue that right now. But I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to come back to you.
As long as it's not high school, it's either high school or slice of life. High school rom-com. But is that slice of life? Are romantic comedies slice of life?
Yeah, I think in theory they're supposed to be. Okay, I'm just going to say this. The definition of a fantasy anime is that it's supposed to have, like, magic, otherworldly forces, and be like just completely different than real life. Like you don't have fire powers.
You're right. What a bold freaking claim, huh? You think that hurt me? No. Come to terms with that
but
months ago.
But I think that's the point. So like why where was I going with this? I don't know. That's why, like, Clan Ed is not a fantasy anime. Even though I feel like the idea of a harem in general is a fantasy.
Interesting take.
Because, come on, let's be real. How many people have 4 or 5 people just liking them?
According to Bumble. I don't know who.
I've said yes, none of them have responded. But it could be 5 or 6.
It could have been many.
You don't know my life. You don't know me. Yeah, I'm just saying. So the idea of a harem could make it a fantasy. But I don't know. I think we could definitely go into more depth on this. If you guys want us to break it down via like action fantasy or adventure fantasy, even though those two seem like they would go together also, but I don't know. That's where we're at on fantasy. Let us know in the comments down below your favorite anime or your favorite fantasy anime. If we didn't talk about it, if there's some animes that we definitely missed, which I'm sure there's a ton. And I guess with that being said, we're done. We're done. We did it. All right, you guys, follow us on all our socials. That's going to be linked down below. Adults Tea Anime on Twitter. Join that Discord. And you've been listening to Adults Talking Anime Plus. I'm Inga.
And I'm Thor.
And we'll catch you on the flippity flip.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.